What's up guys, and welcome back to WBC Builds. So today I didn't expect to ever be making this video. This is my 750 subscriber special Let's Build, and I just want to say I can't believe it. I'm actually still in shock that we've managed to make it to not just 750 subscribers, but surpass that by another 50 already. So at the moment, at the current time of recording, I'm at 806 subscribers, which is phenomenal. It just means I am less than 200 away from 1,000 now, and to me 1,000 is like my hard goal. For if I get to that, there are so many things I've got planned that I want to do, projects, builds, rebuilding the server, all sorts of bits and bobs that I have just sort of locked away in my head going 1,000 subs, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so the video in question today is me building what is known as the Lymore Park Crescent. Now, the crescent, people have been asking me a lot of questions while on the server. What is a crescent of buildings or a crescent of houses? So there have been comments saying, is this a museum? Is this a government building? And I've been like, no. So crescents are a sort of Georgian style of townhouse that were pioneered in, I think, the sort of Regency period or the beginning of the Regency period, so 1780s, 1790s. And what they are townhouses placed around a radius. So the main example of which is the Royal Crescent in Bath. Now, that's what I've sort of used for the inspiration for this build, but I went off-piste with the colours and the amount of houses in it. But the Royal Crescent was built by, you know what, I can't remember any names for architects. I always do this, I sit here and go, But in our world, the Royal Crescent was built by the architects firm known as George and George Sons, who are credited for inventing the Georgian theme of architecture. And that's mainly because in our world we don't have the King Georges to name the period after. So at one point we'll build their office somewhere, I think it might be in Whiteburg, and they will have their sort of main Georgian styles built onto that. So yeah, I just this building, once I started it, and you can see me laying it out now in wall, and once I'd started it I went, okay, this is alright, this is going well, I can just flip it around and do all of that. Midway through I decided, no, we don't just want houses here, we want a train station as well. So I ended up adding a train station to the left wing of this building. Like, why add extra work to myself? But it really did turn out quite nicely. I haven't completely finished the train station, and there is scope for us to come back and do the interior. And I do actually think that a showcase around this place involving Jamie, if he appears at some point, will be quite worthwhile. So instead of at the end of this video we'll do a separate video on the showcase for this. We'll get a few houses decked out, do it nice and proper, because they haven't just have the houses. I also went around and built the gardens and a row of railway cottages behind it, which I think look superb. So also in this video I'm going to put in a little Q&A section. I've got some questions that I put a little comment out on Twitter yesterday just to ask some people to give me some questions, give me something to talk about in this video, and we're going to get into that in a bit. And I don't know what it is, but this style of building with these pillars and just the sandstone with the quartz around it really is my favourite. And I wanted this building to be a really nice prominent structure in the town of Walhmapton. So this area of Walhmapton, known as Lymore Park, was built on a river known as the Lymore, and actually at the beginning of the video you saw me covering over that river. Now later on we are going to I think make a new river, so it's going to be diverted around the back of this as an engineering project. I've got that in mind at the second, maybe even turn it into a canal slightly. Lots of canals around Walhmapton. Now this area is the upper class section, there is no doubt about that. These houses are huge, even if they are part of a crescent where they've lost like sections due to it being on a curve, they are still 4 stories high with incredibly large gardens. You'll notice that this one on the corner here is just a singular building, so I would definitely live in this one. This is huge, 5 windows across, 4 stories high, because there's a whole basement level as well. And coming now onto building the crescent itself was quite a struggle. I have done diagonal buildings before. If you haven't checked it out, go have a look at my Buckland Place video where I built some diagonal Regency houses. But this just takes the biscuit in sort of complexity. I had to copy a style around using pillars, windows, and the anvils at the front there to act as a railing. I definitely made mistakes, and I think because of its size, you can hide these mistakes quite well in it. I definitely, I went back round and I tried to change the colour of the pillars through the advice of a fellow builder, and I looked at it and went, yeah, if I do this, it's going to show all the mistakes a little bit too much. So I left it as all sandstone, which I think does work quite well. And once I did one quarter of the circle, just flip it around because I wasn't going to go around and build it all by hand. It was enough trouble just doing that. I think this took something in the region of 12 hours, not just this, but the entire project itself, going back over the replay mod stuff. So 12 hours of building across 2 or 3 weeks. It's quite a big project. I haven't ever really spent that much time on a single building. Now, coming around to the train station here, this was an afterthought, but it's because the actual railway line crosses past this part of the building, so I thought, you know what, might as well incorporate it, and I'll get some lore written about that later on. Okay, I think it's time now for us to jump into the Q&A section. So I've got some questions here from Twitter and from our Discord server, so I'm just going to go in and start that now. Okay, so question number 1 from that one person asks, how long have you been working on Whiteberg? Okay, so Whiteberg itself, this is its 4th or 5th iteration of a city, or a project with that name. I started it out properly as part of the Sassy Treacle series Let's Build Whiteberg City, and that was about 5 years ago now. So it's been on and off for a long time, but this version of it, where it's now a country and a city within that country, this is only been going on for about 6 months actually. So yeah, that's how long I've been doing Whiteberg for. Next question is from not name Ikara. Okay, what keeps you motivated on a project like Walhmapton? So my motivation comes in the fact that if I don't build it, nobody is, because Walhmapton, I have said, is off limits to everyone else unless I invite you in to build on it. And what motivates me the most is I want to get this project going so I can start designing the map. So the map is the ultimate thing in the end of the day, is a hand-drawn, like an ordnance survey type map from the early 20th century. That's what I'm aiming for. So the more I build, the more goes into this map. So we've got a couple of questions here from that genuine alpaca, and he asks, why should we apply for BBuilder? What requires us to do so? I feel like a lot of subscribers are unaware of this server. So currently I don't promote the server too much, and that's because of sort of people coming on and copying ideas. Now what's going to happen in the future is we're going to make this building server whitelisted only, and people can apply and join our Discord and see how they can come on to build. And the only way you're going to be able to see stuff is through these videos. And then he asks, what part of the UK am I from? So I'm from the south, mainly the New Forest area in Hampshire, and that's where I draw a lot of inspiration for at least this county that I'm building right now, the county of Hanwickshire. Where are your favourite places to travel to for inspiration? So London is a great place for inspiration for all of these styles, like the Georgian and the Victorian. I also like to go to places like Lymington and Southampton and just other towns and villages around here, because the more you look up, the more you see. And his final question here is, how long do you plan to build Whiteberg before a new country starts? Now I'm not sure. A good another 6 months, I reckon. My idea is for another country, for an American-inspired one. I want to build some buildings from Red Dead Redemption 2, especially the areas of Saint Denis and all of that. So, mark my words, we are going to do that one day. Oh, and he's got one more question actually. Will you ever build in another style? No. Is my answer to that. But I have... The thing with these styles is there's so many different variations within this. Right now you're watching me build a Regency style building, but it's not the same as a sort of pre-Regency Georgian building or a Victorian one. There are subtle differences that make each style a bit more interesting to do. Oh, and another one as well. What other things are you into as well? I like music, I do like reading, and I like just looking at maps. So we've got LeBunny, he's asking me a question, what Minecraft YouTuber do you admire and why? So I've always admired Corrales. He has always been an inspiration to me. I've watched his stuff for many years. He's just got a nice calming voice to listen to, and the way that he shows off his builds is what's inspired my showcase series. So we got ADcraft, he's asking, what's the most challenging build you've ever done? This building right here you're watching me build was the most challenging one I've ever done. The angles, the roof, just the planning out of it, this building was the hardest. And then we got Foralash, what's your creative process? Have you hit a creative roadblocks? If so, how do you overcome them? So, I always hit a roadblock. Now my only way to overcome them is to build roads or design another part of town, because finally I sort of drive myself to go back and carry on the thing I was working on. Also just looking at inspiration. Inspiration always helps with all of that. So we've got the Craft Inc. asking, what is your favourite culture? British? Then we've got Minecraft Repo. He asks a maths question. I'm not going to read it all out, but my answer is about 230. So then we have the Minecraft with Dreams. If you could live in any past time period, what would it be and why? I wouldn't, because of all the infectious diseases and illnesses going around at the time. Realm of Lothorodon just says being forced to like this. That's not really a question, is it? We got Hugo Bennett asking, I get a burning sensation whenever I stick my foot in fire. Should I go to a doctor about this? Is it normal? I'm no medical professional, but I believe you should probably put the fire out first before you stick your foot in it. And Odd Man MC asks, where do you get inspiration for your builds and lore you put in your works? So I get mainly all my inspiration from the real world and the area I live in England. I am going to branch out into other parts of the country, but it's mainly just through reading and research. And we've got a question here from Dweebs. What is your favourite food? I like Chinese food. And our final question of the day, it comes from Jamie, and he asks, who's that Jamie guy? I don't know. Right, thank you all for your questions. They were quite fun to read out. I do like answering questions in the Q&A style. It's it's just a freshening way for people to understand what's my thinking process with all these builds and whatnot. So the train station here is underway. I haven't completely finished it, like I said. We will one day come back to it and finish it off, because this line carries on towards the town of Durnston. Now Durnston is going to be my next town/village project. I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to start that, but I do know it is going to be this year sometime. And now we're moving on to the final throes of the build, and at this point I asked the rest of the building community on my server to come give me a hand, because I didn't really, I had ideas of what I wanted to do with the front garden of this place, but I felt everyone else should have an input in it as well, because they're going to be the ones looking at it. So midway through building the front, I organised a building competition between Dweebs and the Fluffy Snail, amazing names, to develop a lion statue to sit right in the middle lawn of the crescent, and the Fluffy Snail won, so he placed his statue right there at the front of the crescent, and I just think it works so well, because the lion is the symbol of Walhmapton and also the symbol of Whiteberg. Don't ask me why, because there are no lions in this world whatsoever, but it's the same way that the British lion is that as well. But yeah, before I go, I just wanted to say it's crazy. It's been 6 months to the day of starting this channel that I'm now at 806 subscribers, releasing my 750 subscriber special video. I just want to thank you all so much. I have so much fun doing this, and I'm going to carry on doing it until I finish, which I don't know when is. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and enjoy the little cinematic, the before and after shots at the end of this video. I'll be back with a showcase sometime soon. Right, see ya.